I'm joined here today with our regional sales manager for the Midwest, Scott Dennig. He will go through all of the nomenclature updates that we have to our entire fan coil line. Also joined by Greg Boner, our Director of Product Specifications. Greg will specifically go through our Eco Series and our First-Pak updates. Arlindo Sousa, our Director of Commercial Sales, will also go through all of our updates to our through-the-wall split product categories, as well as our water source nomenclature updates. And Sonny Siddle, our Marketing Manager, will go through also some website updates where this presentation will be posted 24/7, as well as some additional tools that you'll have to navigate through these changes as easy as possible. So as we begin with the A2L regulations, I just want to go through just some layman's kind of changes that I'm guessing that maybe most of you are already aware of. The biggest one clearly is that effective on January 1st of 2025, just a couple months from now, FirstCo will transition all of our compressor bearing products units and the production of those units to R454B refrigerant. So those products that will be transitioned to R54B will be our Eco Series and our First-Pak through-the-wall products, our WCX Series and WHHP Series split condensing units, and all of our water source products. And you will hear all of those changes as we go through this presentation. In addition, there's a number of changes that will take place with our fan coil lineup. And to begin, to be clear, all First Company air handlers will be A2L compliant, and they can be ordered in a variety of different ways. You will be able to order fan coils, all of our fan coil families, with either dedicated R54B factory installed components, meaning the TXV and the sensor kit. You could also purchase dedicated R32 refrigerant fan coils, again with factory installed TXV and sensors. And you can also continue to purchase dedicated R410A fan coils as well. But there is one very clear regulation change that you all need to be very much aware of. Effective January 1st of next year, all 410A air handlers manufactured by First Company will be labeled for servicing existing equipment only. That's a key factor. Any fan coils that are 410A that were produced prior to January 1st, 2025 can be installed in any application. In other words, new construction, new applications, or obviously replacement. Effective January 1st of next year, however, all 410A air handlers will be labeled for servicing existing equipment only, and that is a regulatory change that was made by the EPA and the DOE. We will also provide you with the opportunity to have a flexible air handler, what we're going to call our Z model air handlers, and they can be ordered for field conversion of R54B, 454B, or R32 refrigerant. So you can buy a Z model air handler and then also purchase a TXV kit and a sensor kit that could then be field installed for either of the A2L refrigerants, 454B or 32. Please note that 410 air handlers will not be available via the Z models. That would only be a factory built option. So in general, those are the key updates as far as the regulations are concerned. But these changes have required us to do a number of different things to accommodate the various options that you'll be able to purchase. So all First Company products will all have new nomenclature, and we're going to walk through each one of those product families next within this presentation. All First Company products will also have new specification sheets and corresponding documentation, and all of those changes will be uploaded to our new website at www.firstco.com. And that's where Sonny later in the presentation will walk through that website, as well as some tools, in particular the legacy lookup, which will give you the ability to put in our old model number and to see exactly what the new model number is for your reference moving forward. So with that as an overview, we'll begin with the multi-occupant air handlers, and that will be presented by Scott Dennig, our regional sales manager for the Midwest.
Jeff, thank you very much. So as we talk about the new fan coils, one of the things we really wanted to make sure is that the nomenclature is going to make sense and be consistent through all of our product families in air handlers or any product category we have. So as an example, currently, or pre-A2L, he had an 18HX5. Moving forward, you're going to see a 25HXX, so we've added another digit there, and we'll talk about that in a minute. The key thing here is to pay attention to are the A and the V, which we have highlighted. So as you go across from left to right, you have the unit size, you have your series, your heat options, motor, voltage, cabinet options, but those big two that are different for everybody moving forward are going to be your refrigerant and your metering device. Those two are going to be key when you're ordering product. So when you look at the A and the V, we've made this very simple. So if you order an A, this will be a 410A product. B would be a 454B. C is going to be your R32 product. And then Z, as Jeff talked about, that'll be field convertible to 454 or 32 only. So a couple things to remember. Number one, if it's 410A product you're ordering from us, you cannot field convert that. That has to come from us at the factory. Secondly, starting January 1, that will be labeled for replacement and or service only. The only two that you can convert in the Z will be your R54B or your R32 product. Now, one of the things we've included in here for you is our nomenclature tree. So for those who are ordering, we wanted to make sure you knew what every character and or digit meant as we go through. So a couple of things you're going to see new if you look at the series. So that's where those 3 digits are now. So you have the unit size, and then the very next one is our series. So you're going to see an HX0, you'll see an HXX, and our new one, which is an HXS, which I'll explain in a minute. So moving forward, the HX and the HXX will only be available in sizes 30, 32, 37, and 28. Those will be your only ones. Now, those are 3/8 copper tubes in those particular products. Those are larger units. But as we move forward, the plan will be to offer those also in what is our HXS, which is our 7mm. So your 7mm sizes, again, that's going to be your H, X, and the S is for 7mm. Those are going to be available through 18 through 36 in your various tonnages. Again, the larger units, the 28, the 32, 37 will not be available in S today. Our intent as we move forward, and this may take us, in 18 months or 24 months, is ideally we'd like to have every product we make in the air handler category have 7mm. Why that is so critical is this is going to help us pick up a number of ratings that we're missing today, not only in maybe base or entry level 14 SEER 2 product or 13 SEER 2 product, but also higher end product as well. Now, when you look at the different sensors and the TXVs, Jeff talked about how you can order these. So again, 410A, if you need a TXV, you can order the unit with that, of course. But when you go to the 454B or the 32, again, this is when you're ordering the Z category, you're going to be able to order each of these in a TXV and a sensor kit or a TXV only. This goes back to the DOE regulation. If it's 6 pounds or more, you have to include the sensor. So we'll have a kit that does that for 454B and for R32. If in fact it's less than that 6 pounds, you only will need to put on a TXV. Sensor will not be required, but that will be up to the field. So you will have different kits. Now, one of the questions that will come up is, will you have universal sensors and TXV kits throughout the entire air handler line? Unfortunately, we will not be able to do that. The reason is the sensors require different wiring. So depending on where it's mounted in the air handler, you're going to see longer or shorter wiring needed to install that kit, that sensor kit. Same with the TXV. You're going to have different copper configurations. So depending on what that TXV goes into will depend on how much copper that we have on that. So yes, all the TXVs and sensor kits will be different between all of our air handler lines. So again, let's talk about the CDX series. Again, we want to keep the nomenclature as simple and consistent as possible. So again, won't go through everything, but please keep in mind that A and that V, those are going to be your keys. So you're going to have your, again, your refrigerant is your A, your metering device is going to be your V. The V could also be a P, which would be for a piston. The only thing we will have in a piston today from an ordering standpoint will be in 410A. So you have that option again, depending on the application, depending on what rating you need. Some may rate with a piston. Other ratings, you will need that TXV. So again, you're going to have a P or a V in that designation. Again, we've included the nomenclature tree here as well. So for those who are ordering, everything's right at your fingertips. Our next slide again talks about the sensor kits that we have. So you've got your TXV plus your sensor or your TXV only for the CDX series. So our UCs, our wall mounts or closet mount. Again, pre-A2L, you had an 18 UC3. We tried to keep that very simple because of the consistency we wanted to have, not only obviously moving forward, but also backwards, what most folks are used to ordering. So in this case, you have a 25 UCX. Again, that's going to depend on the model number right there, obviously, and then we've got the A and the V. So please keep in mind that A and the V. We can't stress that enough because that is something that is very different. Again, A being the refrigerant, V being the metering device. Again, we've included that nomenclature tree for you so you know what every digit / character means throughout the model numbers. And then again, our sensors and our TXV kits. Again, order 410A, it will come from the factory 410A. You will not be able to do that in the field. Everything else is identical to what you saw before. So you'll be able to order your 454B TXV and a sensor, 32 and a sensor, or TXV only, depending upon the application. Then we get to our HCX series. So we've got a number of HCX models in there. We tried to keep this structure as consistent, but not much different than you see today. So again, as you go across, very similar to what we've done from unit size to series to heat options. Again, the A and the V, the refrigerant and your metering device. Those are the two most important things when it comes to ordering this product that you will have to make sure you do correctly. Again, your nomenclature tree gives you the designation of what every digit means. And then we also have the TXV and sensor kits. Now, this one is a little bit longer, and as you can see, it's between your 18 and 36, so your 1.5 ton through 3 ton, and then your 4 through 5 ton. Again, this goes back to the wiring and the piping that is needed, the piping for the TXVs, the wiring needed for the sensors on how these get mounted into the air handlers. And then finally, we have the CL series. Again, that structure remained relatively unchanged. Again, other than that A and that V, your refrigerant, your metering device. We've included that, again, that nomenclature tree, the new tree that you'll see moving forward. This also will be on our website as well. And then finally, the TXV kit. So the TXV kit itself only, or the TXV and the sensor. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Greg Boner.
Thanks, Scott. I'm going to go through the multi-occupant fan space-constrained vertical units through the wall, the Eco Series, and the First-Pak units, and what changes we're going to do with those product lines. The Eco Series comes in a variety of different ways. You can get the Cool Pack, the Aqua Pack, or the Fresh Pack. For pre-A2L, the structure, again, has not changed for the nomenclature. The current unit that you're looking at right here is an ECE 24205, for example. The only major change you're going to see in these product categories is this D that's in the nomenclature that we're putting out for current. That's going to mean 454B. The sensors that go into these units will be selected by the factory, and they'll be factory installed for any units that have over 4 pounds of refrigerant. So you don't have to worry about that in your ordering mechanisms. You don't have to worry about it at all. We take care of that for you at the factory. So anything over 4 pounds of refrigerant from the factory, R454B, will automatically have a sensor installed in the unit, and that will be field taken care of to shut the unit on and off. In this case here, what you're looking at is an ECE, which means a series or model number of an eco series is what the E stands for. The C is for cooling. The E is for heat type. In this particular case, you're talking about a electric heat type. So as we take this through, what we did was put together this nomenclature tree, for example. So we have the Eco Series Aqua Pack, we have the Eco Series Cool Pack, and we have the Fresh Pack. All of those units have different nomenclature in the beginning generally, and I'll just take you through what it looks like. So in this case, we have the E for the Eco Series. The unit type is H, so that's going to be a heat pump. The electric heat is the E, so you're going to have electric heat in there. Then you go to your tonnage on your cooling side. In this case, you can have 9 through 30, depending on what you select. The voltage is a number 2. That voltage is not going to change throughout the line, so you don't have to worry about that. Your heat option being 3, 5, 7, or 10 kW. For some of you, that might be a little bit of a change. We changed that a couple of years ago. The only heat options for electric heat are 3, 5, 7, and 10 kW. D is the major revision that you need to know about, and that's the R454B change that we have. And then the rest of the nomenclature tree is generally the same throughout the line. Now, if you were going to go to in this case, this is an Eco Series Cool Pack heat pump. But for example, if you were going to go to an Eco Series Fresh Pack, the Fresh Pack is the unit that has the ERV on top of it. That nomenclature would change in the sense that it would be an E for an Eco Series, and then it would be a P as in Peter, which means an ERV, and it would be an E for electric heat again. So then you go down the line and you select your cooling loads and you select your voltage. Your voltage is going to stay the same. The kW on your heat options would be the same. And then again, the major revision with the 454B. Let's say that you also are going to want to select an Aqua Pack. An Aqua Pack is an Eco Series with a hot water coil as an option. So it uses hot water to heat the unit. So again, you're going to have the E for the Eco Series. In this case, you're going to have C, which is cooling. And then you're going to have a W, which means water. Okay. The big change there is that your BTU size is going to be based on a coil or a hot water coil that goes in there. So you're going to see a 2R or a 3R in that case. And what we're going to have either a 2-row or a 3-row hot water coil that's on that. There will be no electric heat option on that unit. So you're going to have an ECW unit with the Aqua Pack. As we move on to the First-Pak style units, there's not much change either. First-Pak comes in a AC unit, which is an electric heat, electric cooling unit. First-Pak heat pump, which is what it says. It's a heat pump with electric heat. Then we have the First-Pak in gas, 80% AFUE, and we have the First-Pak gas, 95% AFUE. The structure, again, has not changed. In this current example that you see here, we're looking at a First-Pak heat pump with 5 kW of heat, and it's an 18,000 BTU cooling. The major revision you're seeing there is the 454B for the D as in David. So as we run through this, you're going to see First-Pak heat pump, FPH, and then you're going to see the heat option, which is 5 kW, the heat configuration, which is electric, the unit size, meaning the cooling. So you could do anywhere from 12,000 BTUs up to 30,000 BTUs. And then you go on down the line to the brand, which is First-Pak. We now have a tree that we can show you to give you a better idea of how that's going to work. So what I did is I took the First-Pak gas, AC, and heat pump. Those are your three options that you can order in this series. As you can see on this example, the First-Pak FP is always in the beginning. I put the 80% gas unit in here, so it would be G, FPG for gas heat. Then you go to your heat capacity. In this case, you're going to have 20, 30, 40, or 50,000 BTUs for the gas units. The N8 stands for natural gas 80%. So what would change there is if you had a 96%, it would say N9. And then you have your cooling options. Now, these are a little bit different. You have them 12, 18, 24, and 30 on your cooling. D is the major revision for the 454B refrigerant we're using. Your voltage is going to remain the same, and the rest is going to remain the same as it being open, as well as the First Company brand. If this was a First-Pak AC unit, which is an electric unit, it would read First-Pak FP. E is an Edward or electric, because that's what you're going to get for your heat type. Then your capacity for your cooling is going to come up. And then it's going to have an E in there instead of natural gas. It's not going to be N8. It's going to have E, and then it's going to go to your capacity on your cooling. Again, the major revision on the 454B, and so forth down the line. Again, to be clear, with the Eco Series and with these units, we are installing a sensor in the units that are over 4 pounds. That will encompass almost our entire line of product. Basically, what you're going to be looking at is the 12,000 BTU cooling units will not have a sensor in them, and the rest of the line will have a sensor already factory installed for you to go through and do what you need to do. I'm going to hand it over to Arlindo so that he can take us through the through-wall air conditioning units.
Thank you, Greg. And let me take you through the wall condenser units and the water source heat pump units. Let's gonna start, with the through the wall condenser units. Quite, a bit of changes in here. The WCX14 is changing to a WCX for now. The primary change is these units will be in 454B. And I must, confirm that will not have sensors inside of the through-the-wall condenser units. The reason for that is they're exposed to outside air, and we do not need to comply and have sensors on the condenser units. A typical example on the WCX2 and WCX4, and again, we'll start with the unit sizes, 12 to 30, and the series WCX2, and the B revision, that's the important part of it. B is for R454B refrigerant. The rest maintains exactly the same as it was before. Now at the WHHP and WMHP that have been discontinued, now we have got the WHHP, and again, the only change in here is the revision that it moves to a B revision. And a sample of the nomenclature, unit size, the series, and again, pay particular attention to the major revision being a B unit now for 454B refrigerant. Same for the WHSC. The only major change in here is the revision. And if we look at on the next slide, is the B is for 454B refrigerant. Now moving to the water source heat pumps, not a lot of changes have occurred on the nomenclature, and we are following exactly the same pattern as on the Eco series, where the only change in the nomenclature is the D revision. The D stands for the 454B refrigerant. Everything else remains the same. And a breakdown similar to the Eco series that you just saw, depending on the product family, it may be a 13 ER, 14 ER, 16 ER, or the slim units. Then we'll have the size of unit depending on the BTU capacity, and the critical change is the revision level. There will be a multitude of options. For example, on the voltages, the voltage will vary depending on the unit size and the unit type as well. And exactly the same as per the vertical water source slide that we have just seen, the horizontal water source plot will follow exactly the same pattern. The major change is the D level revision for 454B refrigerant. And with that, Sunny will take over.
As you visit our new website, firstco.com, that underwent an update and revision in 2024, you will find some new additions to accommodate our A2L transition. So one of the first additions will be a legacy item lookup. So several of our products will have old to new nomenclature. So we have called that the legacy item lookup. You'll find that by going to the products tab on our homepage and scrolling down to legacy item lookup. When you click that, it will take you to the legacy item lookup page. And here in the search products field, you can type in any part of the product model number, product name, product item number, or description, and it will pull up anything that matches whatever you typed into the search field. So if you are looking for a CDX, it will pull up the old item number, old model number, and provide you with the new model number, item number, and description. So you can find any new version of the CDX that you are looking for. We're also adding a nomenclature guide, similar to what you saw in the presentation today, that will explain what each section of product nomenclature means, as well as a glossary to explain anything that you might want to understand a little bit better. This is also available by looking in the product drop-down menu located at the top of the screen. We also have an obsolete products where you can find any items that have been recently or long ago obsoleted from our catalog, and it will show you what the product has been replaced with. And as we transition, you'll notice some of our products have been replaced with different names. For example, the CLP-AQ will now be known as the CLPQ. HW has been changed to W, so forth. And a few other products have been affected by this change in nomenclature. We will leave the old and new product names up on the website for a couple of months as everyone adjusts to this change. But then moving forward, after this, we will leave the new names, which will be CLPQ, CLPW, etc., on the new site. So we hope that you can move forward with us in this transition. If you have any questions, please reach out to us, your customer service rep, your sales rep. However we can be of assistance, please let us know. Thank you so much.